With a wrestling star ruining a fan for sending inappropriate videos and a last-minute change made to Smackdown, this is Wrestling Hub. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report for November 8th. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at WrestlingHubOfficial and also follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. Despite being a main event star on NXT, Karrion Kross could not build momentum on the main roster and now finds himself a free agent. On Busted Open Radio, Mark Henry criticized WWE for giving Kross a gladiator gimmick. You look at the world of entertainment. Sometimes it's art imitating life, sometimes it's life imitating art. When was the last time you saw a gladiator show? I'll wait. Plenty of zombie shows on TV, plenty of sports shows, Mortal Kombat type characters, superhero-esque things. There are no Spartacus type shows on TV to associate a Karrion Kross too. He's basically like taking something that he heard overnight and within a week transitioning and trying to make it mainstream in the world of wrestling. It did not work. What he had before on NXT everybody loved, we loved it, we talked about him, how great their entrance was, how cool his finish was, the fact that he could absorb so much punishment and still get the job done. Did they ever once show his resiliency in a match with one of the people that he wrestled on Raw or Smackdown? No, not one time did he weather the storm, took a real good butt whooping and then made that comeback and made the crowd happy, and there you go, Karrion Kross. Not once. With WWE releasing 18 superstars recently, Tony Khan told PW Torch that he usually is interested in picking up some talent after a WWE release. Every time they cut 20 people, let's just say it's terrible, because every time someone loses a job, it's affecting them and the people around them. Some of these people might have wanted to leave, but in general, most probably did not. It's terrible when anyone loses their work, and I feel for them. Each and every one counts. I'm going to take a ballpark number, and I'm not trying to make light of everything, but everyone counts, and this probably not the exact number, but every time they let's say in the ballpark of 20 people go, I think there have been in general 1, 2, or 3 people in that I'm interested in and snatch up. They keep doing these mass layoffs, and each time I find a few people and the company gets a little stronger and stronger. I do see a few in this wave. I don't want to say who or when I would be interested in them, but there are a few interesting people they let go, and same goes with the last wave and the wave before that and before that. Each wave there are a few interesting ones, and this was no exception. WWE nearly released another 10 stars, which were said to be those that are in their 30s and not doing much on NXT programming, so it's safe to say Khan will keep a close eye on those getting let go. After making the jump from NXT to AEW, Adam Cole talked about the moments backstage prior to his debut, telling Busted Open Radio, "I was incredibly nervous and also very excited. Fortunately for me, I had the chance to meet and talk with a bunch of the crew prior to that because obviously my girlfriend Britt Baker works there. So getting the chance to talk to a lot of people, I know that the locker room and the crew that worked there were incredibly welcoming and incredibly nice. So I wasn't per se worried about working with a new crew, but again, like you said, the transition from being so used to and accustomed to working in one place, and that one place being WWE, and then moving over to AEW, of course, change is always exciting and nerve-wracking. So all things considered, with it being a massive surprise, fortunately, I was in the news a lot at that point, because people didn't know what I was going to do. So absolutely, I had a moment where I was like, I really hope these people are excited, I hope they care, I hope they're jacked up, especially considering a lot of people were expecting Bryan Danielson there. So I am thinking everyone is hoping for Danielson. Hopefully when I come out, they're excited and not like we were really hoping for Bryan, and of course, they end up getting both at the end of the night. In regards to the night of his debut, Cole would join forces with his friends in the Elite. As he says, it was his favorite night of his career. I remember when the lights went out and I was waiting for my music to hit and my legs were physically shaking with excitement. I had so much adrenaline going through my body, I thought this is going to be such a cool moment and I hope that reaction's there. And then it was. I've said this before and I really mean it. I think it was my favorite night of my wrestling career. Very rarely do you get a chance to be a surprise. Some of my favorite pro wrestling moments ever were surprise returns and things like that. So to be involved in something like that on such a big night for AEW, I'll never forget it. Cole is set to appear at Full Gear with him and the Young Bucks facing the Jurassic Express and Christian Cage in a 6-man tag team match. Following his match with Roman Reigns from Survivor Series, Drew McIntyre still has a bone to pick with the Universal Champion. Talking to Sky Sports, McIntyre mentioned he wants to wait until the time is right to face Reigns, as he will continue building momentum till then. Everyone keeps saying to me it's Drew and Roman. That is obviously what will happen. I'm sure it is inevitably going to happen, but I have no desire for it to happen right now. He has got all this momentum, and I am a very patient man. I've been in the wrestling game for over 20 years now. I want to keep building up victories. I want to keep building up momentum. He is aware of what I am capable of these days, and I want him to have to watch me build up momentum, and when the time is right, we come together. It will definitely be a huge match for us as superstars, but especially for the fans. Not until the time is right though. With McIntyre now a part of Smackdown, it seems set in stone that these two titans will eventually clash again. As Jon Moxley is off programming due to him being in rehab for alcohol issues, AEW President Tony Khan told PW Torch that this might hurt long-term angles for the promotion. Yes, there was a storyline ripple effect, and it definitely affected this past week's show, and then that was coupled and really enhanced by Eddie being out sick on Wednesday. Eddie is back tonight now, but the card was definitely thinner, and it definitely hurt the show. This is going to have a long-term ripple effect, absolutely, and we'll see how things go at Full Gear. But Miro taking Jon's place in the tournament, it definitely changed multiple stories and multiple plans. And thankfully we just kind of punted the can down the road, and it did affect the card, and I changed up what I was planning for the matches this past Wednesday. Moxley was in the AEW World Title Eliminator Tournament, as it seems likely he would beat Orange Cassidy to face Bryan Danielson in the finals. Hopefully he is able to recover and make his return to action soon. Speaking of Moxley, in his book he talked about his untelevised bouts on the main roster before the Shield came together in 2012, with him noting that he had heat backstage because he suffered a concussion. Seth had learned that I had major heat. How was that? For what? Oh, right, now I get it. I had been on a loop the previous week, and on the first night I got stiffed really bad, knocked completely stupid, and barely finished the match in a total punch-drunk haze. I have no memory of what happened next because I was concussed, but when we got to the back, allegedly, I and nobody from FCW proceeded to MF for my opponent about it in front of a locker room full of WWE stars. You can imagine how this may have been received by some. I didn't even know I had been concussed until the next morning when I realized I'd been totally out of it all night and couldn't remember any of the match. No big deal, stuff happens. We had a great match the next night and I didn't think anything of it, but gossip happens. Third and fourth hand stories get blown out of proportion, and before you know it, your reputation precedes you. With Hangman Page set to face Kenny Omega for the AEW World title at Full Gear, Bully Ray noted on Busted Open Radio that Page needs more heat in the angle before he can win the belt. I would say to stick with Kenny right now. That's just my own personal opinion. I'm not gonna say if Tony decides to switch it's the wrong decision or this or that. Listen, booking is all about feel also. There are X's and O's that go with it, but it's also all about feel. Do I feel it's the right time for Hangman? I'm gonna say in 9 days? No. I would like to see Kenny get more heat on Hangman, or them come up with a way to get more heat on Hangman. Following his surprising release from WWE, a report came out that Keith Lee had attitude problems backstage, specifically when it came to him putting other stars over. Now Ringside News has added to this as they reported Lee's WWE release was a bit of a shock for fans, but there aren't many surprised faces backstage. We were told that Keith Lee's attitude has always been an issue in WWE. That being said, due to his size and ability, he kept getting chances. Lee currently is under a 90-day non-compete clause, as we'll have to wait and see what is next for the Limitless one. On the most recent episode of Smackdown, the Bloodline beat down the New Day to end the show. The obvious place to go with this is a champion versus champion match between Roman Reigns and Big E at Survivor Series, but this was apparently a late change in plans. Ringside News would note that Smackdown ended with the Bloodline destroying the New Day. Kofi Kingston received a lot of punishment in that attack. We were told that the closing angle on Smackdown was actually a late change of plans. Now is the perfect time to acknowledge your tribal chief. Sticking with the Bloodline New Day feud, Bobby Lashley recently spoke to Planeta Wrestling, saying not only does he think a match between these two groups will happen, but that the Hurt Business could get involved. Oh, we'll win that one for sure. For sure, I think right now Survivor Series, Big E and Roman already have a match set. So I just watched Smackdown last night and I saw Bloodline jump on Kofi and Xavier. So I think you might see the New Day against the Bloodline at Survivor Series. But you know, there's always opportunities for the Hurt Business. With him starting to work for AEW in March, Ethan Page has made his presence felt. Speaking to Day on Demand, he talked about how the promotion treats its wrestlers. It's huge. We get emails and have meetings, and we have staff that looks after people and will reach out to people. There's a large amount of people we can use and resources for things like that. AEW is a big family when it comes to the way we treat each other and think about each other. After the coffin match where I essentially died live on television against Darby Allin, I was not a fan of that. I came to the back and Tony Khan looked me in the eyes, shook my hand, and gave me the week off, and told me to spend it with my family. Hard work gets rewarded and family time is valued by the boss. He has the best interest at heart when it comes to his talent. Despite many thinking The Rock and Roman Reigns will eventually square off at WrestleMania, the Great One set the record straight on the rumors while speaking to Dish Nation. I can tell you there is no truth to that right now. Possibly down the road, we'll see. We stay very close, myself and Roman Reigns, and I'm very happy and very proud with the work he is doing, as well as the Usos, my other family members. Those guys will continue to do what they're doing, and we'll see down the road. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.